Hello everybody and welcome to our live show today. I'm super excited to be back. I missed you guys from last week. I'm going to go ahead and share us out while we have a little bit of summertime music on. So enjoy that, and I'm going to share us out to the world so we can start talking. So if you're here with me, don't go anywhere. We have a lot of great stuff. We're just enjoying some summertime music. And I'm going to share us out to our friends, and then we get started. So hang tight with me. Little DJ Jazzy Jeff and Will Smith. So hang out and wait. We're going to talk a lot about worrying, anger, guilt, and how to get rid of all of that stuff that is keeping us stuck. So don't go anywhere. Hey Beverly, how are you? Let's see, I'm just sharing us out to our friends. And as we talk, share this link out so that everybody can join us and have a really great shift today. All right. Summertime. That's right. All right. Yes, there we go. We're just sharing out one more space, and then we will be in business. So welcome. Don't go anywhere. Hold on. All right. Okay, so enjoy this. Here we go. All right, welcome. I'm going to shut down our Will Smith summertime jam. Okay, so let me get over here because I believe our comments today are coming in through the computer. Okay, Jolie, Jennifer, Christian, hi everybody, and welcome to TGIM. We missed last week. I missed you all, and I'm happy to be back. For those of you who might just be chiming in, joining us for the first time, I'm Tracy Litt-Lester. I'm a life coach and a speaker and a teacher, and I help everybody make shift happen, find more joy and happiness. We talk all about different topics and shifts that you can make, and I also answer questions and coach you live. So as I speak and we go over things, I'm just modifying the screen here, and I go over things with you. Ask me what you want to know. That's why I come on during this hour, so we can spend time together and I can help you shift with what's specifically going on in your life. I can see your comment. Hi guys. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I appreciate that love and support. I'm so excited. Bonnie watched for the first time 2 weeks ago. I'm so excited you're here. So thank you. So if I'm not looking at you, our comments today are coming in to my right on the computer, but no big deal because that's what we do. We ebb and flow. Whatever happens, we roll with it. That's what live TV or live streaming is. So here's where I want to start before we get into some of the juicier anger and worry topics. So it is summertime here in South Florida. School ended last Friday. I'm sure in other states too, and then I know up northeast and other areas there's a few weeks to go. So in my particular world, I had a lot of graduations for my children, a lot of moving up ceremonies, going from elementary school up into middle. We're done with elementary now, and all of this stuff, right, that happens. And it was interesting. The reason why I want to share this is because life is about the perspective you choose, okay? And the way to achieve less anxiety, release depression, experience more fulfillment, be in a state of happiness is based in your power of choice of how you view anything and everything in your life. And the stories that you tell and the direction you choose to allow your mind to go is exactly what is going to create the feelings and emotions that you live with, which then creates the reality you're in because of how you act and feel, right? Okay, so in my space, there was a lot of, aren't you sad? Don't you wish you could stop time? Now your kids are older. They're not babies anymore. And I'm observing other parents at these ceremonies and their sentiments and, ultimately was asked, so how do you feel about it? And I have to say that I don't feel sad. And I encourage anyone who's having children grow. It's not about feeling sad. It's not about wishing that you could stop time and hoping that things would just stay as they are, mainly because that would be arguing with what actually is, right? And something that we also know is that any time that you argue against what actually is the case, is it creates feelings that don't feel good and nervousness and anxiety, right? So for me, it's much more about, I can still appreciate and rejoice in the memories of when they were little, when pictures come up and how cute and delicious they were. But I'm also super, super happy and present and aware that they're getting older, and I am not going to wish that it would stop, because then I'm not going to be present in it happening. And that's the real truth of the matter. So I am excited to watch them grow. I'm excited that time is going by, because time's going to go by either way. So I either get on the yay, let's do this train, or I'm going to be in a state of wishing and hoping and wanting for it to stop and feeling sad and kind of like bittersweeting everything. And I just don't choose to do it that way. So for anyone who's going through that kind of transition, your kids are growing, you're dealing with graduations, maybe someone's even like leaving the house, right? Because in a few years, then they leave. Then what? If you're stuck in your sadness and you're wishing that it wouldn't keep going, then you're going to be like, whoa, wait a second, this happened way too fast. But if you sit and you really, really be with it, watch them grow and welcome it. I'm eager for them to go through their lives, right? And that's how you enjoy the present moment when transitions happen. So I really just wanted to open up and share that with you, because it's my paradigm of looking at it. And again, it's choice. Everything is a choice. 100% of the time. So I invite you, if you're feeling like you're holding on a little bit too tight, or you're experiencing a tremendous amount of sadness or wishing that they wouldn't grow up kind of going on, know that you can stop and pivot into a perspective that would really, really kind of lift you up and serve you a lot more effectively. Okay? All right. So that was how I wanted to start the show. Let me know if you guys have any questions, thoughts, challenges to what I'm saying. Again, I'm here for you to coach you live, and I can see your questions and your responses to the right. Also, I love thumbs up, hearts, angry faces, whatever you're feeling. I want you to do you. So let me know where you're at, and let me know what you need from me, so that we can have a great show and that I can really help you with your life, because that's why I wake up every day, to help inspire people to be more awesome than you were yesterday, really. So here we go. I want to talk about worrying. All right. I'm sure for a lot of you that are hanging out with me right now. Hello, Nancy. Hi from Athens. Hi, Jolie. So I like, if I could see you raise your hands, that would be cool. But, you know, worrying is pervasive, right? Worrying is something that happens to many of us. And maybe if you're on right now, you're thinking, I'm a chronic worrier. I've always been a worrier. All I do is worry. I can't stop worrying. I come from a long line of worriers, and so on and so on. So what I want to talk about a little bit, because in order to make shifts on things and to be able to transform, you do sometimes need to be informed first, right? You want to really start with understanding why things are the way they are, or where they come from, so that you can get that nugget of information and then turn that into something transformative for yourself, okay? So, hey from Arkansas, and Beverly, I hate worrying. Right, exactly. So let's start with good old Webster's straight up definition of what worrying is. And I take notes so that I make sure I don't miss all the juicy stuff that I think about at night and go, oh, I want to share this. So Webster's definition is, to worry is to give way to anxiety or unease, to allow one's mind to dwell on difficulty or trouble. So here's what I want you to pull out from this. The word allow. Worrying is a choice. I understand that that might be hard to wrap your mind around if you're either first hanging out with me, or if you are new to the world of personal growth and expansion, okay? Worrying is a choice. As in definition, Webster's definition, you allow yourself and your mind to grab hold of some thought and sit on it and worry about it, all right? So that's the first thing we need to acknowledge. Give me some thumbs up if you hear me, if you're like, yes, okay, or heart. Just let me know you're there, because it's helpful for me too, because right now I'm just hanging out talking to my phone. All right, so Mary, I'm going to come back to your question in a second, okay? So when we worry, right, what happens usually, and this is kind of, there's a lot of different reasons and explanations for things depending on what you're researching and who you're listening to. But the crux of it is as human beings, we really don't like uncertainty. Okay? So what happens is when things go on, right, because we need to know. That's kind of like a disease we all suffer from. We need to know, because to live in uncertainty, To just not know, really? Like seriously, that's a thing, right? It really is a thing because in actual fact, uncertainty is one of our 6 basic human needs, but that's not how we're trained and that's not what we believe to be true. We believe we need to know. We need an answer and a conclusion. So that's also where worrying comes from, okay? Worrying is about sitting and trying to come up with, well, how's it going to end? What's going to happen? How's this going to go, right? Now, what you can imagine is worry and anxiety, they're married, okay? If you are a worrier, how true is it that you suffer from anxiety, right? Because to worry, Kathy says, my anxiety level is about a 15. Okay, Kathy, hang out with me for this hour, okay? To worry is to put yourself in a future place of how you think something may go, and anytime your thoughts are in the future about something unknown, troubling, or negative, you're going to propel yourself into anxiousness and anxiety. That is a indisputable fact. All right? So to understand worrying, you are allowing it. And if you are worrying, you are going to promote anxiety in yourself. And the reason often that we need to worry and need to find an answer is because we need to get better at uncertainty. We need to get better at, it's okay that I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how this is going to go, and that's okay, right? Because you also have to then enter into the realm of what can you and can you not control. And as soon as you hit that line of what you can no longer control, logically, is worrying about it even worth it? Does it serve you at all to sit and think over and over again about something that you cannot affect at all? Let me know. I'm looking at your notes here. You're 100%, okay? So let me know what you're thinking right now, what you're feeling about worry, and what direct questions you have. Let me know. Tell me. Challenge me. Let me help you through this, because it is something, it is not a one conversation. You're gonna be like, oh, well, I listened to Tracy and now I don't worry anymore, right? It's a practice. There's tools and strategies that you can really, really work on so that you can shift. All right. April, how do you always know what I need to hear? I've been worrying like crazy. My husband realized he would regret if he didn't serve. He's currently trying to get an active duty in the Air Force. It's going to change everything for us. I'm trying to support him, but I'm worrying like crazy. Okay, awesome. As I've been trying to give up control, I find I worry a bit less. Thank you, Jennifer. That's totally part of the point. I'm actually going to give you like a little 5-step process here, guys, too, about worrying. So hang on with me, okay? Because this is how we teach and learn and talk together, using everybody's kind of real life stuff, because it's super helpful to put it into context. So April, this is really where you have a tremendous amount of power to understand how is worrying going to serve you in this situation. If you focus on, and your exact statement was, it's going to change everything for us. Okay, and you focus into what you deem is the negative end of that statement, right? Like, let's say the statement's like this, and all the positive things that could be are up here, and all the negative things that you imagine are down here. If you're looking at that statement and you're fixated down here, you are going to perpetuate a ton of anxiety, right? It's going to be more stressful for your family. It's going to be more stressful for him. It's going to create more stress on your marriage, right? So you really, really would benefit from, and this isn't about me telling you what to do, this is about me telling you what to ask yourself, right? How is it going to serve you? If this is something that's meaningful for your husband, right? Because I'm reading what you say, right? And this is something that's important to him and a passion of his, and it's going to happen because it's important for him for whatever those reasons are. What's the best way for you to show up to make this the most empowered and positive experience for you and your family? That's your question. So I want you to take out a pen and paper, because those of you who hang out with me also know that journaling is important, and it doesn't have to be every day. But when you're processing something, when you're going through something, getting it out of your head and onto paper is, number one, using a different level of consciousness than just thinking or just talking. And it also helps you to kind of throw up everything you feel and really, really bring yourself to a better space. All right, so how do you want to show up, April, during this? Because we know that worrying is not going to serve you, and it's only going to create a situation where 6 years from now, when you look back on it, you might think, what could you think, April? Chime in. You might say, I can't believe, right? I wasted all that time worrying, because that's another choice that you have to make. Okay, so there's that part of it as well. Casey, this is hitting a chord. My now 15-year-old wants more freedom, and I'm constantly worried when he's out with friends. All right, so Casey, totally reasonable. I'm not far away from having a 15-year-old myself, and it's totally reasonable, right? First, allow yourself. Great, it's normal. You have a child. It's biological. You're worried. You're concerned for their safety. So, what can you do to feel better about that? What things have you not talked to him about? I believe it's a him, right? Yes. What have you not talked to him about yet? What things have you not gone over, right? Things like, have you had a conversation about an emergency text word? Have you had the right conversations about self-defense? Have you, had all of the examples and dialogues you need to feel like you've prepared him to go out into this world, right? Because ultimately, you're not going to hold him back and he's going to do it. So the question becomes, how do you empower yourself to feel like, all right, I've equipped him? Because that's the other thing about it. Just to the front of my talk, when I was talking about, enjoying your children growing up, it's not, you're not going to keep them safe their whole lives, right? It's just not realistic. And at some point, they're all going to grow up. The point of being a parent is not to live for your child and not to live through your child. It is to teach and empower your child up into their independent selves so that when they go out into the world, they got this, right? So Casey, let me know, in that context, right, in that perspective, because we're talking, everything's based on how you look at it, right, and what you say about it, inside and verbally and audibly, right? What can you do to feel like you've given him the tools he needs to do his thing? And then it's up to you also, and I'll go through some of these things to release worry, to realize once you've done everything you can do, then that's everything you can do. And then you must surrender, right? Because that's just the way it goes. Or, because I don't tell you what to do, I invite you, you can opt to drive yourself nuts and worry. And that's cool too, because I have no judgment on it. This is about what serves you and how do you want to show up. All right, so Casey, come back to me. April, I want to be excited about a new adventure for our family. Beautiful. Then do that. This is what it comes down to. You are a power of choice all the time, right? And I can feel the energy off of the words you typed, right? I want to be excited. It's a new adventure for our family. Describe that on paper. What does that look like? Who are you being when you're supportive of your husband, right? Who are you being when you're there for your kids if he's on active duty and he's deployed, right? What's that message, right? How can you turn this into a huge empowerment opportunity for your family, right? Where you're saying to your kids, look, daddy's living his dream. This is what passion looks like. This is what dedication is. And this is how we step up as a family, right? Instead of conversely, what that would look like if you sat and worried during this time, how would that affect your kids, right? And they're looking at you and you're nervous and you're worried, which means you're short-tempered and you're short-fused and you're tired, because worry, being married to anxiety, affects you physiologically, right? For some reason, we have these conversations about everything that's going on up here, and everybody seems to think that we're like a head and then our body. Your head and your mind and your body is connected. Everything has an effect. Yes, April saying yes. Good. So stay in that space. Casey, come back to me and let me know what you're thinking about what I'm sharing with you. Okay? Okay. So let's go through some of the actual kind of steps, if you will, or ways you can understand and help yourself shift off worry, right? So there's something called the monkey mind. That's what we all have as humans, because we have something like 250,000 thoughts a day. And they're all kinds of different thoughts. And they rationalize different things, and it helps you cope with different things, and they go in different directions in your mind. So a monkey mind, what I want you to picture when you worry, it's kind of like your little monkey is going from branch to branch in your head, which are all your different thoughts, right? And when you worry, you decide to jump onto a branch and sit there and ruminate and worry and fixate on it. Just right on that branch, right? So maybe, Casey, I'm just going to play with you a little bit more about your 15-year-old kind of having more freedom, going out with friends, and this constant worry. So you just sit on that branch and you pick up every possible thought about, oh my God, and what if this, and what if this, and what if this, and I'm worried about this, and then what that, and then, oh my God, but then if that happens, then the next thing happens. And before you know it, you're just a little worrying nutcase flying around on your branch, right? So if you can think about it like that, when you start to worry, think about a little tiny monkey flying around in your branches, which are your thoughts, right? And flying, going from one to the other. And instead of jumping on and holding on for dear life and worrying until you're blue in the face, You get to choose to say, I see that branch and I touched it, and now I want to jump to the next one, and then I'm jump to the next one, and then I'm going to jump to the next one, right? Because you don't have to choose to stop and lament and ruminate, okay? So that's the first thing. Thank you so much, Jerry. I appreciate that. Casey says, ha ha, that is so me, right? Good, so I'm glad I'm playing with you today, right? So you can choose differently. You can just choose differently, and that's the first place, guys. Any shift, you start with the decision to say, the worrying doesn't serve me, right? I'm going to do everything I can that's in my control, and then once I have hit that point, I'm going to release and I'm going to practice being in the present, because that's all you can do, right? Okay, good. I tell myself those thoughts do not serve me. Very good. So keep listening, Casey, because we're going through steps here, right? So sometimes the visual of the little monkey, right, really, really helps, because you realize, okay, like you make it kind of silly. And one of the other things we talk about a lot in the work we do together is all about adding a little levity, right? Calm down a little bit. It's in the scheme of life, it's just life, and no one's getting out alive. So take a breath and smile and relax. That's hugely important in anything. So when you picture a little monkey, it's like, okay, I see that branch and I could hang on it all day and think about all the different reasons why the branch is going to this and all these different worryful, anxiety-ridden things. Or I can just go, yep, see that. Thanks for that idea, which I will share this with you. I wasn't planning on, it wasn't written down, but this is something I do with myself a lot. It's a tool I give to my private clients too, which I will give to you today. When something comes up, a thought, and it's not serving me, I just go, thanks. Like, thank you. I see you. I hear you. Appreciate the contribution. Don't really want to pay attention to that right now. Bye-bye. Right? Because that's really, really what happens. It's your choice to grab onto that thought and then create a whole emotional string and a whole outcome based on it, or just go, thank you, no thank you, and let it go. All right? So you can practice that. The worry thought comes in, and you go, ooh, yeah, instantly you know it, because worry causes your heart to race, your amygdala in the back of your brain to go crazy, and your palms to sweat, and all kinds of physical actions happen, so you know that you're feeling that level of worry and anxiousness. And you just go, thank you, no thank you, and you move on. Okay? And then it's every time you do that, you're training yourself, you're reorienting yourself to be a different way. That's really what it takes, okay? All right, so now we're going to go to step 2 on not worrying. And before I do, I just want to say hi to anyone who's recently come on. I'm Tracy Littlester. I am a transformational coach. I am a speaker, a teacher. We hang out and we make things happen, and we change lives, and we inspire, and we shift our behaviors so that ultimately we can be more present and be in a life we love and, you know, do all that great stuff. So hi, Judy. Hi, Susan. Thank you for joining me. So happy you're here. I'm so glad you needed this today, Belinda. And share this out, guys. As this resonates, my intention is to touch as many lives as I can. So please hit share now, and when you hear something that really, really resonates, you're like, oh, yes. Because everybody has similar themes in life, and everybody deserves to grow and expand. Okay? So please do that. All right, and thumbs up me or give me some hearts or something, because it lets me know that I'm, like, you know, not hanging out by myself. Angelina says, how can I stop worrying about my 8-year-old and 15-year-old? I feel like I just don't do enough because I'm healing slowly from back surgery and a lot of guilt. I find it hard to watch everyone else doing, and I remember what that feels like. Okay, Angelina, can I please invite you to be gentle with yourself? That's the first thing I have to tell you, okay? You're slowly recovering from back surgery, right? So can you put yourself in a position where you are talking to your best friend, and your best friend has 2 children and is recovering from back surgery, and I want you to take a second, and I want you to go deep inside and find out, what would you say to that friend? What kind of loving, compassion, and gentleness would you share? Because I promise you, it is far kinder than what you're doing to yourself right now. And this is not a you thing. This is a human epidemic thing where we are nasty to ourselves in a way that we would never dream of being, right? Or Angelina, when your 15-year-old grows up, what if they're in this situation? They have 2 kids and they're recovering from back surgery. What would you do? How would you help them and support them and be kind and gentle to them? What were the words you would choose to help them know you're healing? Right? And that guilt doesn't live in this space, Angelina, right? And I understand the guilt, Guilt is the way we punish ourselves when we feel like we're not living up to something. That's all that guilt is. And guilt falls under the umbrella of we have choices too. All right, so please know that right now. And go ahead and type back to me and let me know if anything I'm saying as you think about it is resonating with you, because guilt, everybody hear me. Guilt is what happens when you feel like you're not being who you should, or you're not doing what you should, or you're not living the way you're supposed to, or all of those things that all really stem from comparison and judgment, because what you're saying is you find it hard to watch what everybody else is doing, right? And remembering what that feels like, you're going to have that again. And I will also tell you with certainty, getting yourself to a calm, loving space with yourself is going to increase the speed of your recovery, because having that tension and having that disappointment in yourself is counterproductive to having your back heal. Okay? I want you to feel content. I want you to feel gentle. I want you to love yourself. I want you to be reasonable that you just had back surgery, you're recovering. I am positive that you're doing what you can be doing. And if there's anything you can be doing more, that's okay to admit to, right, in terms of helping your kids. But you know that you are doing everything you can, right? Angelina says, I hear you, because I'm usually the doer. I don't know how to just think of me sometimes. Ooh, this is awesome information. So Angelina, this is a gift to you also, right? Because in every situation that happens to us, every single one, tragic, planned, unplanned, shocking, sudden, whatever, it is always about the gift that comes with it and always about the learning that comes with it, right? So the fact that you now are kind of forced to be in a place where you have to think of you and care for you and heal is a gift to you, Angelina, because I know based on what you just said, you would never rest otherwise, because you're the doer. So now the fact that you can't be the doer and the superwoman and the one who does everything, right? That is what is making you feel like you are less than. So then it's like you take out the guilt basket and you just rub yourself in it. That's what guilt is. That's what guilt is. Guilt is a choice based on what you think you should be doing or falling short of who you think you are, right? So it's like, oh, I can't be doing right now. I better feel guilty because I'm not being the doer. Oh, guilt, 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 guilt. That's bullshit. It's just bullshit. It doesn't have to be that way. Angela said, my mom says that it's God's way of saying, slow down. I couldn't agree more with your mother. She is 100% right. Exactly. So now my invitation to you from a coaching standpoint is, number one, to put yourself in the position of what you would tell one of your children if this was them grown, or your mother or your best friend. And I want you to be your best friend right now and love yourself that way. Period, end of story, okay? And then anytime you start to feel guilty, I want you to remember, you don't have to do this. You don't have to rub yourself down in the guilt. You can simply say, I'm doing everything I can right now. I am who I need to be in this moment. Next year when I'm fully recovered, I can go back to being a doer if I want to, or perhaps you'll realize that you want to make some shifts in life because of this gift of having time for yourself, right? Are you with me? Angelina, let me know if that makes sense. Okay. Let's see what we have going on here. Patty, living it right now, needed this, thanks. So true. I'm so glad. Definitely, let me know if you guys have any specific questions. You've always been the doer too. Yeah, anytime. And that's the other thing too. Like, we could talk about so many topics for days. When you label yourself as a certain type of person, right? I'm the doer, right? Then when you're at a time in life where you are unable to fulfill that label that you've created for yourself, then you're in a state where you're not enough, you're not as good as, you're not hitting that label that you have carried on as like your, it's kind of like your superwoman cape, right? It's like, I'm the doer, right? So then as soon as you can't be the doer because the universe did something that stopped you from being that way, it then puts you in a place where you feel like you're less than because you've associated your identity with being this doer. That's not the case. You are who you need to be in the moment. You are what is relevant right now. And Angelina, thank you. You're welcome. What is relevant right now for you is Angelina time, clearly a little bit of introspection, and maybe some different shifts and choices to live an even more fulfilled life as your body heals. Okay, so that's awesome. All right, let's see what else. I need help because my anxiety is because I'm hurting for my friend and what she's going through. Facing court on Wednesday. Okay, so Kathy, what I am understanding is that you're expressing you're feeling anxiety because of something that's going on with your friend. So what I am going to invite you to do is what I call like detached involvement, right? So it is a beautiful thing to love and care for and have empathy. Oh, it's critical, and compassion for the people around us. And it's another thing to take on somebody else's emotion in a way that is detrimental for you. Okay? So how can you feel love and be supportive while kind of armoring yourself against having you internalize her stuff? Right? Tell me if that makes sense, because that's important. And hi, Anthony. What is that's me? What's you? Tell me what that means. So Beverly says it's Angelina time. True, true, true. All right, so if you're just joining us, we're talking about worrying and how to stop worrying. We've talked about all kinds of fun things today, too. So where we were, hold on, I'm just going back to this question, right? So Kathy, I want you to try to kind of armor yourself a little bit against internalizing what's going on with your friend, okay? And one of the ways you can do that is through meditation for yourself during the day, or in the evening, to kind of journal out a little bit what you felt from the day and tell yourself, right, I am going to not internalize what's going on with her. I'm going to protect my health, right? Because if you're taking on what's going on with her, how much of service can you be to her? Right? There has to be a certain amount of disconnection on your behalf so that you can be healthy and happy to serve her, because anxiety can drive you to feel ill, right? Or to break down your immune system. So know that, okay? All right. So step one was about not holding on to your monkey mind thoughts when you're worrying. Step two in cracking the worry code is to really kind of step back and look at the big picture, right? Just kind of disconnect from what's going on and fundamentally understand that the more you water something, the more it grows. So the more you allow yourself to hang on to that branch and to worry and to get fixated, and then you call your friend and you talk about it, and then you think more about it, right? All of that stuff just keeps you worrying and keeps you in this negative spin space. And none of it serves you at all, because if you're worrying about something, then guess what you're not doing? You're not productive in your own focus of your own life and your own goals and your own intentions and your own dreams. Because you're worrying, right? Because where your focus goes, your energy flows. Period, end of story. And what you think of manifests and creates itself. And who you show up as and how you are being is what you attract back in your life. These are all true things. They're not disputable. They're not religious based. This is science. It's real, right? So we have to keep that in mind. Let me go back here to Anthony. It's me, Tamisha. Hey, Tamisha, I cannot be the superwoman anymore and need help. Okay, so let me say this. I work privately with clients. I am going to have a few groups starting soon that are virtual. Message me. If you don't already like the Lit Factor page, go ahead right now and hit like on the Lit Factor page. It's the Lit with 2 T's Factor. On the bottom or top of this live, there is a website. Message me so that you can become part of my community and know of all this growth stuff we do, because this is where it's at. Growth and working on your mind and working on your soul, right, is what we all need to be doing. Just like, in the 1950s, if you would have said, oh, I'm going for a run, somebody would have been like, who's chasing you? Because that just wasn't a thing. Because the awareness over physical health and exercise wasn't a focus. Now, if you don't exercise, it's abnormal, right? Because we know all of the indisputable mental and physical and emotional health benefits. It's the same thing that's coming on this revolution of consciousness and mindfulness and being able to shift your behavior, because you're not a fixed creature. And just because you were a worrier doesn't mean you are anymore. And you can deal with your anger differently. And you can show up as a completely different person. You don't have to take things personally. You don't have to be a neat freak. You don't have to run late. You don't have to be all these things. Okay? So I need to say that. Definitely subscribe and connect with me so that I can give you information. And if you're interested in private coaching, which I have a lot of clients have come to me through doing this work together, just like this today, right? So message me and let me know, and I'm happy to give you a 30-minute complimentary consultation if you're really interested in private coaching, because it's life-changing. It's life-changing. It's progressive, it's going to move you forward, and it's going to get you out of whatever stuckness you feel right now. Okay? Okay. So let's see. Wow, that was like a slap in the face. I do not want our 6-year-old to be the worry wart that I can be. We already see it in our 15-year-old. He worries and he has anxiety. I so need to focus on my thoughts before they get overwhelming. Casey, yes, and thank you for that. And sometimes, and I love that you called it a slap in the face, because I do that, and with so much love. Like, I just want you all to know, as I slap you, the love in this hand is so deep and so real, because I know how powerful you are, and I know that you can shift things. And Casey, please be gentle with yourself right now, because my next question to you is, so where'd you learn it from, right? Because the way that we are is simply inputted or taught to us, right, through our ancestors, our mothers and fathers, and then their mothers and fathers, right? And then all of a sudden we wake up and we're this person. Fortunately, we live in an era and in a time where personal growth is cool, and it's a thing, and it works, and it's real, right? Your grandparent would never have changed. Are you kidding? Like, in the 1920s, her role was just to make sure she didn't really have emotions and had dinner on the table. So what do you think she's going to teach down to her daughter, right? Or the same thing with the man, and maybe not being emotional and shutting it down and just focusing on himself and not, right? All of these different ways of being that have been, you know, kind of dripped down from generation to generation, and they just don't apply anymore. And you get to decide, ugh, I don't like how that feels. I don't want to be a worrier. Casey, I'm super proud of you, right? That's all it takes. You made a decision today. Done. Now you get to use the tools and strategies to get yourself there permanently. And the change is not difficult, okay? Everything that I teach and inspire and coach theoretically is simple. The biggest challenge to any kind of change and shift is your decision of consistency and practice, right? And anyone who's hung out with me knows this too. I liken things to the gym a lot because it's easy for you guys to really understand contextually. If you tell me you want to lose 20 pounds, it's not going to happen because you go to the gym twice, right? It's going to happen because you make a decision and a commitment to yourself, and every day you do something toward that goal. Maybe on Monday it's a workout, and then on Tuesday it's conscious eating, and then on Wednesday it's a yoga class. Are you with me? It's a decision. It becomes a way of life so that you can shift into who you really want to be and how you really want to feel. All right? Okay. Let's see here. I am going to Crystal. I've been married for almost 3 years and have an almost 2-year-old boy. I used to be really confident about myself, but soon after marrying my husband, I feel I can't do anything right, and I know my family needs me to do better. I don't know what to do. Crystal, what do you think changed? What is it about marrying your husband that is causing you to feel like you can't do anything right? I need to ask you that question, and we can go back and forth right now in a little typing coaching session, because I want to be able to serve you, and I need to understand in your mind what is causing you to feel like you can't do anything right. Let me know that, and then we can keep going. All right, so let's also understand when it comes to worry in terms of these steps we're talking about, logically, does worrying help? When you extra worry about something, do you have some sort of super life force that stops it from happening? If you do, I want to know. All right? So there's also just a little bit of like, duh, that goes on when you need to wake yourself up a little bit, right? So all of that worry, is it useful? Does it do anything other than drive you nuts? Let me know, right? So that's another part of it too. So some of the things we talk about, right, I'm telling you tools, and other things are really just based, and you've got to ask yourself, like, does this help me at all? Is it helping me? No. Maybe a part of you is so accustomed to it because that's what you talk about, right? Pay attention to the kind of conversations you have with the people in your life. Are they filled with worry and complaints? Are they filled with, oh my God, but I don't know what's going to happen, right? Is that the content of what's coming out of your mouth and what people are responding to you with? Because that's important to notice too. Okay, Crystal says, I suppose he does things differently and probably doesn't like what I do. Okay, Crystal, my next question probably is a powerful word right there. How much of what you just said do you know for sure, and how much of it are you assuming in your mind is how he feels? Okay, let me know that. All right, so keep going with worrying. So we know that you can choose to hang on to that thought, that worry thought. You can step back and look at the big picture and calm down and just kind of have a little bit of relativity. You can know logically that worrying's not really helping you anyway, right? You can be aware that you're not in control of everything. And that uncertainty, here's the thing I want you all to get. Uncertainty is a natural and necessary part of life. The unknown is okay. And the unknown doesn't equal negative outcome. Unknown simply means not sure how this is going to go, right? And we also talk a lot about expectations. When you release expectations and you're just open and you allow things to happen, you realize it's kind of like, you know what? I can be okay with uncertainty because I know that no matter what happens in life, it's a gift to me in some capacity, right? Casey, like we were talking about earlier, right? It's a gift. So if that's the case, I'm just making sure that Crystal didn't respond again. If that's the case, then we don't really need to worry about anything, right? So it's like you've done everything in your power. Casey, I'm going back to you because your example was I think, really good for a lot of people. You've done everything in your power to know, I've given it my all, I've contributed, I've taught, I'm good to go. So therefore you've hit the point of there's nothing left within my control, right? Then after that, it's, okay, so whatever is going to be is going to be. Because I know whatever is going to be because I can't control it, right? And my worry doesn't have some sort of magical power. And if anything, my worry is going to perpetuate something negative and all the while make you feel bad because it's going to create anxiety and it's going to give you all kinds of potential physical ailments and issues, right? So then you just decide to say, uncertainty is a natural part of life. And whatever might come from whatever situation is going to happen, I got this. And there's going to be something to learn from it. If, in fact, there's even anything to learn and it's not just like outrageously great and good, right? Casey says absolutely. Okay? So I want you guys to really embrace that too. And the fifth thing to do when you're feeling worryful and you're trying to embrace all the things we're talking about, bring yourself into the present moment. Nothing is more healing for any behavior or any shift you're trying to make or increasing your level of fulfillment or happiness. Nothing is more effective than be here right now. Total presence in the moment. Definitely taking yourself out of where you are in the future or even thinking about what happened in the past and worrying about, what did that person think of what I said and wasting your afternoon on all the different ways that person might have judged you or perceived you because it happens. Don't tell me it doesn't. It does, right? It can simply be here now. Bring yourself into the present. Do a mindfulness practice, right? Do the 5 senses check-in that we've talked about. Stop. Breathe. And just check in on yourself. What am I hearing right now? What am I seeing right now? What can I touch right now? What's my taste like right now, right? Just go through your senses and bring yourself into right now, right? Another powerful thing you can do is ask yourself, wait a second. I'm in this mad spin of worry and anxiousness. What's real right now, right? Let's just say, I'm going to go back because Casey, I need to repeat over and over, be here now. Yes. You can also get a few Post-it notes and post it everywhere, a bathroom mirror, a coffee pot in the kitchen, anywhere that you are, right? So anytime, right, you're in this crazy, let's say right now when I'm talking about asking yourself that question, what's real right now? What's happening right now? Will suck your mind right back to the present moment out of that crazy worry and anxiety spin, okay? So let's just do this together right now. So if I'm Casey, right? So if I'm Casey, who is feeling worryful about her 15-year-old and the freedom and what's going to happen and growth and whatever else comes along with that, because we're not talking live, right? Then what I would do as I'm in this spin is just wait a second. Talk to yourself. You're your own best friend. You need to love you and know you more than you love anyone in your life. You need to love you more than you love your children. You need to love you more than you love your spouse. You need to love you more than you love your parents. You need to have such a loving, delicious, intimate relationship with yourself, bar none to any other relationship in your life. And no, it's not selfishness, and you can make angry faces if you feel like you need to, but I'm telling you now, fact, truth. You will show up and be more loving and more extraordinary in every relationship in your life if you love you the most. That is just period, end of story. Do you understand? Tell me if you understand. Let me know. Are you happy with me? Are you angry with me? What's going on? Okay? So when you're in that constant worry, anxiety, spinning, oh my God, I want you to simply say to yourself, wait a second, what's real right now? What's happening right now? And literally to the point where you would say to yourself, wait a second, right now, I'm a girl sitting in a chair in a house, and it's raining outside, and I'm talking on my phone, and I have coffee, and I'm breathing, and everything's okay. That's what I mean by stopping and asking yourself, what's happening right now, right? Because it immediately takes your mind out of the uncertainty, crazy need to worry and feel anxious about what's going on, right? Rainey says, wow, you are absolutely true. Thank you. That's what we need to pay attention to ourselves. Yes. April says, my favorite way to stop and get back to right now is getting down on the floor and playing with my 1-year-old boy to stop everything, and it changes everything for me. Yes. Beautiful. Yay, April. Yay, Rainia. Belinda. Awesome. These are real things, right? To stop and just be in the now. So there's plenty of tools that I've given, and there's plenty of research everywhere, but the answer to everything when it comes to peace and calming down and fulfillment and letting go of worry is all about the present moment. Okay? Okay, great. All right, so before we go to anger, which is our next topic, hello to anyone who just joined. I'm Tracy Lester. I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, I'm a teacher. We hang out so that you guys can be happier and live awesome lives. So Melissa has a question, and I'm drinking coffee. By the way, this mug is from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Thank you to my husband for buying it. Melissa, I'm struggling with guilt over the decisions I made with my mom's care leading up to her death this past September. So a lot of this applies to guilt as well. I try not to think about it. Okay, Melissa, thank you for sharing that. It chokes me up a little bit. My mom passed 16 years ago now, but similar emotions come up for me because I understand and I empathize with what it feels like to be that caregiver and have those decisions, which is super intense, right? And a tremendous amount of responsibility. So I don't want to gloss over that for you at all. And I'm giving you a huge hug, okay? So I don't invite you to not think about it, okay? Because what I want you to do, and I want to encourage you to heal through it, okay? The best way to the other side of anything that we're still grappling with when it comes to something like that is through it. Not ignoring it, not walking around it and putting a plant in front of it and not seeing it. It's really to allow it to be, okay, and to feel your way through it. So what I would love you to do is write a letter to yourself. Okay? I'm inviting you to write a letter to yourself coming from complete love and complete gentleness and really, really allowing everything you're feeling to come up and out of you. Okay? And I would love to also be here for you if you would like to reach out and you'd like to have a session or you'd like to discuss it. Because when we're in a situation where you're reliant on you for closure on this one. It is what it is, right? So it's important to be able to express yourself and not just try to ignore it, because when we try to ignore something as real as what you're expressing, it becomes suppressed, which then just means you're just shoving it down, and then one day it's going to explode like a volcano, and that's not what we want. We want you to go ahead and feel and let it up and out incrementally so that you can just heal, right? And be okay. So definitely reach out to me if you'd like to speak privately. And what I'm saying is, I'm just reading this again because I like to make sure I'm really, really getting it, is to allow yourself to feel, write a letter to yourself from yourself. You could even write a letter to your mom, right? That might even be more emotional. So whatever resonates with you, because each person is unique, right? So there might be 27 approaches that I might invite you to do. The one that works for you is not going to work for the person next to you. And that's cool because you're your own person. So pick what works. But if it feels good, I would invite you to write a letter to yourself or to your mom and just really expressing everything. Let it all out, unedited, no grammar, no one's reading it. It is for you, your heart, your soul, your healing. And then see how you feel after that and reach out to me and let me know, okay? Okay, so, and thank you again for sharing because vulnerability is not easy. Let's see where else we are. We have about 10 minutes to go. And okay, what was next on the list here is anger. Okay, so we're going to touch on it. I don't know whether we can go through all of it, that quickly. But really, this is coming out of, there's a lot of questions. Sometimes I get, different emails or correspondence about, I still feel so angry about this, or, I get so angry so quickly and I don't know what to do. So let's just open the door to this conversation a little bit, because I also want to really have everyone understand the detriment of anger, okay? Because not only does anger just rob you of basic happiness and fulfillment, it also has a ton of physical negative health impacts, right? Like it puts your heart at risk, it weakens your immune system, it creates anxiety, it's linked to depression, it promotes a more negative life, right? So from all of those reasons, I want to inspire you to get to the point to be over it, to realize that your anger is doing nothing but sucking you dry, affecting your relationships, and affecting you negatively, right? Because the more anger, the more pervasive that is in your life, the more it orients your life to negative and negativity and attraction of all of those things, okay? Billy Joe, how can I hear from the beginning? Oh, okay. Billy Joe, when we're done, it'll be a replay on the Lit Factor page. So make sure you hit like on the Lit Factor with 2 T's on Facebook, and then you can go to it and you can watch this replay and every replay that I've ever done. So thank you for that question. All right, so here's the first thing when you start to get angry, okay? And we need to talk about this, and this might be our next 9 minutes, but that's okay. And yes, I've said it 1,000 times. And yes, it's tattooed on my body. Okay, because it's that meaningful. You must breathe, okay? You must breathe. And what I'm talking about is deep, purposeful, conscious breathing. When we're born as babies, we have a deeper, slower, more rhythmic breath at birth. And then life occurs as we grow. And depending on the life you have, as your life becomes your life and all the things start happening to you in your life, your breath becomes more and more shallow. So in actual fact, most of us aren't even breathing right to begin with. And when you have shallow breath, you're not getting as much oxygen up into the parts of your brain that you need to function even better, okay? So deep breathing. That is antidote number 1 when it comes to anger and that feeling, it's kind of like that eruption feeling, or maybe it's just kind of a quiet tension that comes up and you start feeling it. Some people feel it in their throat, in their gut, maybe sometimes people feel it in their knees. So when you start to feel it, attack number 1 for any kind of anger feeling is deep, conscious breathing, okay? So maybe it's something like breathing in for the count of 4. I call it flagpole breathing. You breathe in for 4. You hold it at the top for 4, kind of like you're bringing the flag up for 4 counts. You're holding the flag at the top for 4 counts. You're bringing the flag back down to the floor for 4 counts. You're letting it sit for 4 counts. Are you with me? So breathing in. Full, your ribs, your lungs, hold it. Let it out, hold it, okay? Deep conscious breathing, because what that does when you're in a state of anger or tension or frustration is it actually calms you down. It relaxes you. Number 1, in your brain, it sends signals to your fight, flight, or freeze area in your amygdala to calm it down, because that's the part of you that, I don't know if any of you have ever seen the hand-brain model. This is your amygdala, and it's like, I'm freaking out, I'm so angry, right? So it kind of like gets that part of your brain to just to chill out, all right? So definitely start with that, because by changing the rate and the depth and the pattern of your breathing, you're actually changing the messages that your brain is sending to your nervous system. That's why it's so powerful, okay? And people that hang out with me a lot probably over even hearing the word, but it's just the answer to the beginning of any kind of control and any kind of changing and shifting, okay? So know that. The next thing when it comes to anger is question yourself, okay? Question yourself. How is this anger serving me? How is feeling this angry helping me move forward in my own life, right? Because the other thing when we sit in so much anger and resentment or whatever's going on for you, and we'll talk about the third step in a second, you're over here, right? I talk about staying in your lane a lot, which is when you're really like in your zone, you're in your lane, you're in the flow, you're doing you. As soon as you're like in this state of anger and resentment and frustration, you're over here in somebody else's lane, focusing in somebody else's business and on feelings that are not serving you, which means you're giving away your energy and your power, your output, because you only get a certain amount each day, from what you could be doing for you productively, healthfully, right? And you're just like letting it go over here. So that's an important part of the awareness too, right? Okay. Elaine has a question. How do you stop being angry when the people in your household don't listen to you? Okay, so this is a great thing because it goes into my third point. The next thing to understand is that anger itself is a secondary emotion. So whenever there's anger, there's something underneath the anger. So in order to really, because sometimes if it's like a quick anger, like let's say somebody cut you off and you're pissy, that's a quick heal. Breathe and move on, okay? And we'll talk about that in mindfulness another day, but that's just giving it away. So just stop, like seriously, okay? You're better than that. That is not a short fuse you need to have in your life, okay? But when you have a type of anger that after you're trying to breathe or you're trying to just ask yourself, is this worth it? Can I let this go? If you're still holding on to it and it still feels really palpable, then you have to dig into what's up here, okay? What's going on? So to your point, Elaine just told us, how do you stop being angry when, which means this is her reason. Underneath Elaine's anger is people don't listen to Elaine. So Elaine, I'm going to ask you, and what do you make that mean? So I'm going to give you some suggestions. So Elaine, when people don't listen to you, does it mean that you're being disrespected? Does it mean that you're not valued? Does it mean that they don't think you're important? Does it mean that they don't love you? What does it mean? Because that is the thing under the thing, right? Does that make sense? Because this is like a big deal, right? So, and that's part of coaching and why you work with a coach, because you can, or any kind of personal growth, whether it's me or someone else. I just want everybody to start growing and start waking up and start expanding. And the only way to shift and get out of these behaviors that are keeping you stuck or unhappy or lack of fulfillment or keeping you out of relationships or whatever it is costing you, you have to be able to dig deep and go behind yourself and go super raw and honest so that you can figure it out, right? Elaine, yes, with a whole bunch of exclamation points. Fantastic. So answer, what does it mean to you? Which one of those things? What's really going on that's making you feel they don't listen to you, and it means that what? Because that is what you're upset about. And then once you identify what you're making it mean, then we can work on it. And you can also have direct conversation, because it's different when you say to someone, I'm so angry at you because you don't listen to me, right? And then they might be like, well, I do listen to you, or you don't realize it, or whatever. The emotional component of it, the human component, Elaine, of what you're trying to communicate is, hey, I realized that my anger is because I feel really sad. Because when I don't think you're listening to me, I make it mean that you don't really respect me, and then I make that mean that you don't really love me. And that makes me feel really sad. Well, holy shit, that's a whole different conversation than you're not listening to me, right? Are you guys with me on this? When you can really, and that's what deep communication is too, being vulnerable enough to dig far down, deep enough to understand what you're really holding on to. So then you can discuss it openly and communicatively so that someone can understand, well, no wonder you get so angry, right? If someone in my family or in my life or anyone I knew said, and that makes me feel like you don't respect or love me, Well, then no wonder. It's totally understandable that you would be so angry because of how you're internalizing it and what you're making it mean, right? Yes, Elaine, yes, exactly. I love this stuff. Isn't growth fun? It's fun. That's really the other thing about it, right? We're having a good time. And it's cool to admit you need to grow. And it's cool to admit that you want to change. And it's really cool to do the work because then you get a better life. You get a life you love instead of a life you're tolerating or feelings that you're just dealing with or shit you're just shoving over to the side. So this is amazing, tremendous. Okay, so it is 1 o'clock. So our time together today is done. I want to say a few things. Please share this out. Thing 2, please like the Lit Factor page and go to my website and subscribe just so that I have your email so I can let you know of all the great stuff that is going to be coming for you to participate in for more direct coaching and growth, okay? There's going to be groups and private. And thing 3, next Monday, we're playing with a time shift. Instead of having our noon show, we're coming with the nighttime edition of me and you hanging out live. So next Monday, the 12th, it's going to be at 9:30 p.m. instead of noon. So I am on Monday, just not at noon. We're going to do 9:30 because there's a whole host of people that don't get to hang out with us during the day that have been asking to hang out. So we are going to do this. So hopefully my noon people can come up at 9:30 at night and hang out. So let me know what you want to know for next week. Please ask me questions. I'll go back through. Artemis just chimed in. Yes, that makes sense. That's exactly what happens with me and my daughter. Thank you. You're welcome. If you want to expand on that or ask me anything, I will roll it into next week. And I'll go through the notes and we will talk next week at 9:30. Thank you so much. I'm so glad we hung out. Treat yourselves well and know that yes, you can have it any way you want it. Do not settle for anything less. Okay? Mwah!